Materialists' primary plot involves the love triangle that develops between Lucy, Harry, and John, with Lucy's final decision serving as the emotional and thematic point of the movie. Directed and written by Celine Song, the film focuses on Dakota Johnson's Lucy, a matchmaker working in New York City to unite some of the most eligible bachelors and bachelorettes in the city. Lucy finds herself torn between her new romance with the charming finance expert Harry and her old flame, the sweet-natured struggling actor John. Materialists cast two of Hollywood's most charming stars, with Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal's charming performances complicating Lucy's decision. Materialists doesn't really have an overt antagonist or outright villain, with many of the challenges and questions Lucy faces stemming from her belief in love and her self-doubt. This plays into the final message of Materialists, which highlights the most important aspect of a relationship and why it means the love triangle at the center of the film was never going to resolve itself any other way. Why Lucy ends up with John, not Harry, in Materialists. Lucy goes for true love with John instead of the luxury afforded by Harry. Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, and Pedro Pascal in Materialists. Torn between her burgeoning relationship with Harry and her lingering feelings for John for much of Materialists, the film ends with Lucy choosing John and ultimately marrying him. Over the course of Materialists, Lucy embarks on an initially friendly and gradually flirtatious friendship with Harry. The pair begin a romance, even as she also reconnects with her old flame John. While she sees Harry as the unicorn and someone who checks all the boxes for a perfect partner on paper, she ultimately doesn't fall in love with him in the same way she does with John. Lucy struggles with the idea that a perfect partner should provide security, comparing marriage to a business proposition. That financial uncertainty and the resulting instability was what drove a wedge between John and Lucy in the first place. However, after her client Sophia is assaulted by one of her dates, Lucy is forced to consider that on-paper compatibility isn't as important as real-life connections. This is why, after crashing a wedding and hearing John's business offer of unyielding love and support, Lucy ends the film choosing John and even marrying him. Who Harry is within Materialists' ending. Harry is implied to get an off-screen happy ending with an unseen woman. Pedro Pascal Materialist sitting in a suit at a dinner table. Harry is a compelling romantic rival for John, as he has no real negative qualities. Lucy is never driven away by Harry. However, she acknowledges that despite their connection and compatibility, Lucy and Harry simply don't love each other. While this comes as a blow to Harry, who had intended to propose to her, he doesn't necessarily deny it and even admits his fears that he'll never find true love. It all plays into Harry as a sympathetic portrayal of a man who, even with everything going his way, needs surgery for confidence and luck to find happiness. Harry doesn't get the happy ending he wanted in Materialists, but the film's final scene implies that he's on his way there. During their breakup, Lucy promises to introduce Harry to another of her fellow matchmakers who can introduce him to someone new. During a phone conversation with her employer in the film's ending, Lucy learns that Harry has been seeing a woman who works in the art world and has been seeing her for a little while. This implies that Harry might be on the path to the love that he didn't think he'd ever truly find. Lucy's reconciliation with Sophia in Materialists explained. Lucy and Sophia's connection is Materialists' most important subplot. Dakota Johnson at a wedding in Materialists. One of the darker elements of Materialists is the challenge faced by Sophia, Lucy's most prominent client. Sophia is a successful lawyer, but her age and lack of connections in the city have made finding a romantic partner hard. She becomes friends with Lucy through their work together, and is convinced to go on a date by her. Unfortunately, the man tries to assault her. Lucy is incredibly shaken by this, even more so when she tries to apologize to Lucy but is met with fury over how Sophia believes Lucy only saw her as meat. When Sophia's date follows her home, however, Sophia turns to Lucy for help. Lucy drops everything to race back to the city so she can be there for Lucy, ultimately providing support and staying all night with her. The pair have an embrace during this scene, with Lucy gaining Sophia's forgiveness. The film's final scene hints that Sophia has found happiness with the next person Lucy and the matchmakers set her up with, trying to remain cautiously optimistic. Sophia's story is one of the most harrowing parts of Materialists, showcasing the somber realities of dating and underscoring Lucy's pitch to potential clients that it takes a certain amount of courage to dive into the dating pool. Sophia's date also highlights how Lucy's completely transactional and blunt assessment of people can't always gauge true intent and personality. Romance and relationships are built on some level by untangible elements such as personality and love, something that Lucy and Sophia learn the hard way but adapt to as they head towards a happy ending. Why Harry had surgery to become taller. Harry wanted the confidence that came with just a few extra inches. Dakota Johnson and Pedro Pascal looking warmly at each other on a date in Materialists. What sets off the split between Harry and Lucy is the discovery that he had surgery to become taller before the events of the film. Referenced early in the movie by Lucy and her co-workers, the procedure involves breaking the legs and then resetting the bones in a specific way to gain upwards of 6 inches of height. It's a painful and expensive procedure, but Harry reveals that it had a transformative effect on him. Already handsome and wealthy, the extra inches helped solidify him into a unicorn in the eyes of Lucy and the matchmakers. Harry admits that getting taller didn't just make him luckier in love, however. In business, while dining out, even just walking through New York City has become easier because of the confidence the height gives Harry and the impact it has on people who interact with him. This speaks to the film's themes about trying to be perfect on paper, even if it's quietly a lie. While his surgery is far less malicious than the duplicitous and predatory actions of Sophia's date, it stems from the same core concept of hiding one's true self to forge a connection. Materialists' caveman wedding scene and what it means. The framing device of Materialists' caveman wedding underscores the meaning of the film. Materialists' Lucy John. Materialists opens with a flashback to a caveman and a cavewoman, who present each other with flowers and tools as part of an apparent wedding ceremony. This sets up the idea that Lucy initially preaches about marriage being a business transaction more than a relationship, suggesting that the film's perception of relationships going back to the dawn of man were transactional on some level. However, the genuine love between the two non-speaking characters undercuts this idea, leading to their second scene at the end of the film.